What's up, you all on YouTube? Um, today's show title is January 666. And today we're going to talk about January 6th. Now, for most of you all that follow me, you all know that the whole January 6th thing was a scam based on factual information. But I want to go through and talk about the people that they said actually died at January the 6th. Now, the reason the media couldn't give you all unedited footage is because it would have destroyed the narrative. Now we are living in a narrative-driven world where it's not about the truth or the facts, it's about the narrative. What aligns with the narrative? There's another thing I want to talk about, and I think that's with Harvard, lady at Harvard with the plagiarism, and them trying to say that it's racism. But again, it's narrative. So, folks are going to try to cover up for because she's LGBTQP. Don't forget X, Y, and Z. And again, the era that we're in now, it's not about what's right. It's not about truth or fact. It's about the narrative. What is everybody going with? What feels the best? What sounds the best? That's where we are today. What's up, you all on YouTube? So now remember, the media told you that 5 officers, I think 4 officers died at the Capitol riots. Of course, nobody looked into it because people were assuming they were telling the truth. I think from here on out, it's best to assume that people are lying to you. That's the advice I can give you. From here on out, just assume that folks are lying and just back up everything they say. Go you yourself, go research what they're saying. I don't know who West Coast Wizard is, but let's continue. So, okay, so Brian Sicknick, I did a video about him. Now they're going to give you all of this stuff. Now pay attention. After serving in the Air Force National Guard and dreaming of becoming a police officer, Brian D. Sicknick joined the Capitol Police Force in 2008. He died the day after he was overpowered and beaten by rioters from the mob at the Capitol. Law enforcement officials initially said that Officer Sicknick was struck in the head with a fire extinguisher, but medical experts have said he did not die of blunt force trauma, according to one law enforcement official. Instead, investigators increasingly believe that Officer Sicknick may have been sprayed in the face with mace or bear spray, the official said. He returned to his division office and collapsed. The Capitol Police said in a statement, he was taken to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. What injuries? What injuries? Let's read it again. They said that he was overpowered and beaten by rioters from a mob, right? Then they said that he was struck in the head with a fire extinguisher, but that wasn't true. So then they said he got sprayed with something. So that means he returned to his division office and collapsed. So that means that, do you think he was so badly beaten that he would have had to return to he went to the hospital, right? Why would he go back to his, so you already know it's a lie. You're not going to be badly beaten, have to go to the hospital, but go back to the station. And I want you all to read on the screen what I'm reading. And this is from a liberal New York Times. So this is from the liberals. This ain't from, some conservative or right wing news outlet. This is New York Times. So we see Brian Sicknick did not die from anything they said. They said he died at the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries, whatever his injuries. Was it a collapsed lung? Was it broken ribs? Was it internal hemorrhaging, bleeding? What was it? They didn't tell you because it's not true. So that's one lie they told. Now, where I'm from, I don't know about you all, but if somebody lies to me, it's going to be hard for me to believe what they're saying. But now you'll notice the folks will say, well, if a person tells 2 lies but then tells 5 truths, you can believe them. Let's continue. Ashli Babbitt, 35, an Air Force veteran from Southern California, was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer after she clambered through a broken window leading to the speaker's lobby inside the Capitol. We already know that when she got shot, it didn't make any sense. You saw the officers running around like chickens with their head cut off. Nobody was alarmed by the gunshot. Nobody panicked. Nobody ducked. None of that stuff happened when she got shot. None of it made any sense. So we know that Ashli Babbitt, whatever happened, we don't know, but it didn't make any sense. And again, they know that people are dumber now because folks don't have any wisdom. They know now the issue is folks don't have any wisdom. Let me increase my face. They know now that folks don't have any wisdom. And so they pretty much can tell people anything and they're going to believe it, or show them anything and they're going to believe it. It's like I was just speaking with someone about the George Floyd thing, and I said, even if Officer Chauvin's knee was on George Floyd's neck, he still has a spinal cord vertebrae right there. So his vertebrae is going from the base of his skull down to his pelvis area. So even if I did have my knee on his neck, he doesn't breathe through the back of his neck. He has an airway in the front of his neck by his esophagus. So I said, even if Officer Chauvin's knee was on his neck, he still would be able to breathe. Not to mention the fact that he's yelling and calling for his mom and all that stuff, but just common anatomy, basic human anatomy, basic science, just basic stuff we learned, he can still breathe. But again, you all don't really have any wisdom, any understanding anymore, so they can pretty much just show you anything. You guys just take it for face value. Not you all listening, but you all as in those out there, the lost out there that are listening. Somebody said, Bland, did you see the Miami Mall alien shooting? I don't know, man. It's just, I didn't see any aliens. They said it was aliens. I don't know. Sound like Project Blue Beam to me. Fallen angels. I don't know. I got to look into it. Okay, Kevin Greeson. Kevin D. Greeson, 55, of Athens, Alabama, was standing in a throng of fellow Trump loyalists on the west side of the Capitol when he suffered a heart attack and fell to the sidewalk. He was talking on the phone with his wife at the time. Christy Greeson, his wife, said in an interview that Mr. Greeson had high blood pressure and she had not wanted him to travel to Washington. But she said Mr. Greeson believed the election had been stolen and saw January 6th rally as a monumental event. Notice how they wrote this. Just notice the language. The language is all accusatory. He believed that the election was stolen. Now, if y'all believe that Joe Biden got 80-some million votes, I got some beachfront property in Idaho I want to sell you. In a statement to a local news channel, his family remembered Mr. Greeson as a good father and motorcycle enthusiast and said he was not there to participate in violence or rioting, nor did he condone such actions. Now notice how they make the victims against Trump. This is all very suggestive writing. But in an NBC news report, that Mr. Greeson appeared to have made several combative posts on Parler, a social media haven for Trump supporters. An account featuring his name and picture urged the violent far-right Proud Boys group to give hell to Antifa, a loose confederation of far-left activists. A post in December urged direct actions. NBC reported, load your guns and take to the streets. It doesn't even sound right. Again, you notice how they always make this stuff sound like a movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like people don't talk like this. They just don't. We've been on social media for 12 years now, maybe 13 years. And we know how people talk on social media. It's not how they talk. It's just, we know folks on social media, poor grammar most of the time, incoherent thoughts. They repeat what they saw on TV. Like, come on, we know this. We know this. He said, how's the beach? That's funny. Right, Zigzag. Hold on, let's continue. Roseanne Boyland, 34 of Kennesaw, Georgia, posted fervently in support of Trump on social media, followed the baseless conspiracy theories of QAnon, and lashed on to Mr. Trump's false claims that he had won the election. Family members told the Associated Press. Miss Boyland appears to have been killed in a crush of fellow rioters during their attempt to fight through the police line, according to videos reviewed by the Times. So now I want y'all to see Miss Boyland. If y'all can see her face, I want y'all to see her face and tell me if she's a Trump supporter. Now I want you all, now look at her face. She got the lip piercing, tattoos in her ear, on her neck, chest, all this, looking like a straight up liberal. Do you all believe that this woman was a Trump supporter? Honestly. Look at her now. She got the liberal kit written all over her. Tattoo placement. Come on. Her family said, come on. Her family said Miss Boyland was in recovery from drug addiction and wanted to become a substance abuse counselor, but had also gone down a dark tunnel of online conspiracies. So she's on drugs, but she wants to be a drug abuse counselor. And in the midst of all her drug addiction, she found time to become a Trump supporter and go to Washington. Some family members said that they vehemently disagree with Miss Boyland's decisions to travel to Washington and urged her not to go. Justin Cave, her brother-in-law, told Fox 5 Atlanta that Mr. Trump bore some responsibility for her death, saying that the president's rhetoric indicated a riot that killed 4 of his biggest fans. Again, the way this stuff is written is very suggestive and very one-sided and very manipulative, just filled with propaganda. Nobody believes that this tatted up drug addict was a Trump supporter. And if she was a Trump supporter, why would she go to Washington? Do you think she's going to pass up all this good dope in Georgia to go to Washington to be part of some kind of riot? No, she's not going to do it. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. But let's continue. And I really want you all to hear how crazy this stuff sounds, to let you know how uninformed the average person is. The average person has no clue about what's going on. They have no clue. Zero clue. That means that most people that you talk to are taking what the media says at face value. Let's continue. Benjamin Phillips. Benjamin Phillips, 50, the founder of a pro-Trump website called Trumperoo, was chipper as he drove a van of fellow Trump supporters from their home state of Pennsylvania to Washington. He told the Philadelphia Inquirer that it felt like the first day of the rest of our lives. Mr. Phillips died of a stroke in Washington. Those who accompanied him to the Capitol told the newspaper the exact circumstances of his death were still unclear, and his family could not be reached for comment. A friend of Mr. Phillips told the news channel WNEP that Mr. Phillips had sold stuffed kangaroos dressed like Mr. Trump at the president's rally. His website, now down, billed itself as a social network where American patriots can mobilize against the corrupt communist, Marxist, scummy Democrats. Oh, we can't make this up. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Come on, listen, y'all. Come on, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So this guy, we don't know if he has a history of stroke, any illness. No, there's just nothing. He was running a business. He bought all his kangaroos down there. He thought he was going to Australia, but he was going to Washington. He got all his kangaroos to go down under. And he gets to the Capitol. He's selling his kangaroos, and he has a stroke and he dies. Is anybody buying this? Is anybody buying this? He's in Pennsylvania. He sells Trump kangaroos online. He goes to Washington to sell his kangaroos, and he's selling his kangaroos, making a killing, no pun. And he has a stroke and he dies. Come on, man. We can't. I mean, listen. If it's a bad script, that means it's not true. Okay, so now let's go to the officers, because it was more folks that they said. So we see that. Let me find the officers, because they said that the officers that died at the Capitol. Okay, let's. Okay, so let's okay, here we go. So now I'm on a fact check site. It says Trump supporters. It says 2 heart attacks. According to an April release from Washington, D.C. medical examiner's office, Stop the Steal, protesters Kevin Greeson, 55, and Benjamin Phillips, 50, both died of cardiovascular disease, and the manner of death was deemed natural. Let's go to the young lady, an accidental overdose. D.C. police also said that on the day after the riot that Roseanne Boyland, 34 of Kennesaw, Georgia, suffered a medical emergency. The New York Times reported on January 15th that Boyland died in a crush of fellow rioters during their attempt to fight through a police line, according to videos reviewed by the Times. That narrative was furthered by prosecutors pressing criminal cases against some of the rioters who said that as a rioters clashed with police, Boyland was dying after being trampled by the mob. But a month later, the D.C. Medical Examiner's Office released in conclusion that Boyland had died accidentally of acute amphetamine intoxication. According to the Washington Post, the drug cited in Boyland's death in addictive hold on. The drug cited in Boyland's death is addictive and can be prescribed to treat attention deficit disorder and narcolepsy. So the young lady they said got trampled actually died of an overdose, which makes sense because they said she was on drugs. We know about Ashli Babbitt. Okay, law enforcement. Ocasio-Cortez statement that Capitol attack resulted in almost 10 dead includes 5 police officers, none of whom died at the scene on January the 6th. Let me get my screen. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get my screen right. 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 Hey, let me get my screen right. Hey, let me get my screen right. Hey. Okay, here we go. Read a statement again. Ocasio-Cortez statement that Capitol attack resulted in almost 10 dead includes 5 police officers, none of whom died at the scene January 6th. So most people, you talk to them, believe that these folks died at the Capitol. This is what most folks believe. You talk to the average person, they have all kinds of stories, and they're going to tell you that most people died at the Capitol, which isn't true. That's good. Let's continue. A stroke victim. A Capitol Police release the day after the riot said that USCP officer Brian Sicknick passed away due to injuries sustained while on duty. The report stated that Sicknick was injured while physically engaging with protesters. He returned to his division office and collapsed. Again, it's very theatrical, very movie-like. The New York Times, citing unarmed law enforcement officials, initially reported that Sicknick was struck by a fire extinguisher, but later updated the story to say that medical experts said he did not die of blunt force trauma. The Washington Post reported on April 19th, the District of Columbia Chief Medical Examiner Francisco J. Diaz found that Sicknick suffered 2 strokes nearly 8 hours after being sprayed with a chemical irritant during the riot. Diaz told the Post that Sicknick died of natural causes, but all that transpired played a role in his condition. So even though they said he died 8 hours later, even though he died of natural causes, even though he died of 2 strokes, they're going to convince you that, but still, January 6th made that happen. So Officer Sicknick died of a stroke. 4 other police officers committed suicide in the days and months after the riots. 4 officers committed suicide. Think about that. What are the chances of 4 officers that were on a scene to commit suicide? Maybe 1. If we stretch it, 2. But 4? Listen, I might have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Let's read. Now notice, you've never heard this on TV, that 4 officers unalived themselves. You never heard this. You hear January the 6th, but you never hear folks overdosing, folks dying of strokes, people dying of heart attack. You don't hear none of this stuff. You just hear January 6th, people died. But let's continue. excuse me, 4 suicides. 4 other police officers committed suicide in the days and months after the riot. The first was U.S. Capitol Police Officer Howard Lebengood, 51, who had been guarding the Capitol for 15 years and was on duty at the Capitol on January the 6th. He took his own life 3 days after the riots. The following day, Trump ordered flags at the White House be lowered to half-staff in honor of both Sicknick and Lebengood. Several days later, D.C. police officer Jeffrey Smith, 35, was injured in the riots on January the 6th, also committed suicide. Smith's wife, Erin, told the Washington Post her husband related to her the fear and panic he experienced the day of the assault on the Capitol and that he was afraid he might die. In defending the Capitol, Smith was struck on the helmet by a metal pole thrown by rioters. Later that night, his wife said he went to the police medical clinic where he was prescribed pain medication and put on sick leave. Smith's wife said that he wasn't the same in the days after the riot and seemed to be in constant pain. After visiting a police clinic on January 14th and being ordered back to work, Smith shot himself on the way to work, the Post reported. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So let me get this straight. He had a helmet on. He got hit in the head with a pole that was through. We can all agree if a pole was thrown at him, it couldn't have been that heavy. I said if a pole was thrown at him, it couldn't have been that heavy, and he had a helmet on. But while he was in the riots, he thought he was going to die. But you just got hit in the head with a pole. And you went home to your wife. And you had so much pain that you shot yourself in the head going to work. Oh, and let me guess. The event was so traumatizing that the thought of him going back to work, he'd rather end his life. Oh, you know Siaka? I need to watch that. He said it's called. What's the film called? Capital Punishment? I need the name of it. But anyway, so we know these stories don't make any sense. So it's just coincidence that these particular officers ended their lives. But what's funny is they walked away from the scene being able to tell a story. Okay. The families of Lebengood and Smith both sought to have them recognized as line of duty deaths, which would afford their families enhanced benefits. In a letter sent to Representative Jennifer Wexton of Virginia, Lebengood's widow wrote, after assisting riot control at the Capitol on January the 6th, USCP scheduled Howie to work lengthy shifts in the immediate days following. He was home for every few hours over the course of 4 days. Although he was severely sleep deprived, he remained on duty. As he was directed practically around the clock from January the 6th through the 9th, on the evening of the 9th, he took his life at our home. In the letter reported by CNN, Serena Lebengood concluded the Lebengood family wants Howie's death to not have been in vain. Recognition of the cause of death, much like the critical examination of the riot itself, will remain central to how we make right those tragedies and help avoid their repetition. So let's go to, you know, as a part of the lawsuit brought by Smith's widow to have her husband's suicide ruled in the line of duty. Jonathan L. Arden, the former chief medical examiner of the District of Columbia, provided a declaration that stated there is hard and reliable evidence that Jeffrey Smith changed after the physical and emotional trauma he experienced on January the 6th, 2021, as he became withdrawn and upset. These facts, together with the timing of suicide 9 days after the trauma, strongly supports causality. So again, we know this is all cap. Okay, let's get to the next officer. Let's get to the next officer. Because it said 4 suicides, but we only have 1. Okay, so another person is Kyle DeFreytag, 26, was not involved with the clashes with the rioters during the breach of the Capitol, but was deployed to the Capitol to help enforce the curfew put in place after the mob had been cleared from the building. The same day, the Metropolitan Police Department announced DeFreytag's death. It's confirmed that another officer, Gunther Hashida, had also committed suicide. So this is very strange to me, people. These people showed up. One guy showed up after everybody was gone, and then he offed himself. Another guy offed himself. Like, it's not making any sense. They aren't even coming in contact with the rioters. Everybody's gone. They go to the scene and they just often. So we clearly know there's some foul play involved. Nobody investigated this. Nobody thought it was strange. Nothing. Nobody thought that this was strange. That 4 officers would take their own lives, even the ones that didn't come contact with any of the rioters, or whatever you want to call them, whatever, protesters. Orange and Slinky said, I've never heard of this. Of course not. They wouldn't dare mention this because this destroys the whole. Because if you present this, you're going to ask more questions. Wait a minute. Hold on. Why would 4 officers take their own lives? It doesn't make any sense. So we know it's some foul play involved. It seems like to me that these guys would have said something that would have shattered the narrative, and they couldn't have that. They're cheating January 6th, much like 9/11. Let me see. It's called Capital Punishment 2. I'm going to check it out. But I knew when I saw that what they presented against Trump, how they made a production where they edited and they spliced and they did all kind of special effects, and I said, oh, they don't have any evidence. Now think about it. There are cameras everywhere in the Capitol. Every angle, hours and hours and hours of footage, and y'all had to make up some footage. You don't have anything. But guess what? It's not about what's true or what's factual. It's about what supports the narrative. And it's sorry to say that Black people are guilty of this as well, because Black folks look for things that support the narrative of racism. They don't actually search out facts and truth. They look for things to support the narrative. You're going to find things to support the narrative because the narrative isn't true, it isn't real. I don't know. Now listen, people have been talking about January 6th and how it's not real, but I haven't heard anybody start to question why these guys took their lives, 4 officers. And my theory on that is they were going to say something that folks didn't want them to say. It's just that simple. Because there's now listen, now communists do create martyrs. Much like MLK, the fact that MLK got assassinated makes everything he did valid. So communists are very smart, and when they create a martyr, they know you can't question anything. So when it comes to George Floyd, you can't really question George Floyd because he's not alive. You can't question MLK. You can't question Malcolm X. You can't question these people that are gone. So the death, or even people like Fred Hampton, the death validates what they were talking about. Not in my book, but in the world's book, the fact that the person was quote unquote killed, it validates what they. So when they presented this to the world, January the 6th, they had a whole bunch of deaths lined up with it. But really, we find the only death associated with this was Ashli Babbitt. And I still question her death because the way folks responded to somebody being shot. Okay, if y'all ever been to a party or a cookout or in a club somewhere and somebody shoot a gun, everybody start running. It's mass chaos. When she got shot, some folks looking over here. And what it just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. So we have video footage of Floyd dumping his drugs. Easily questioned. You said Floyd can't be questioned. We have through 98% of the population is bought and sold on the George Floyd narrative. 2% of the population is questioning or telling the truth about George Floyd. 98% of the population, if you go overseas, George Floyd is an immortal figure. If you go to the black community, George Floyd is an immortal figure. If you go to the Democrats, so George Floyd is an approved, widely accepted narrative and message. You got a small percentage of folks saying it's not true. None on the mainstream. Tucker Carlson ain't mainstream no more. So, yeah, I believe that. Officers did that. I believe it. Just start spraying to cause mass chaos. But people should question why those officers took their lives. I saw a post. I'm gonna go see if I can find on YouTube. They said they found 300. They found 300 bodies behind 210 bodies behind Jackson Police Department. Let me see. I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I think it was in Mississippi. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see. Here we go. I found it. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me go to YouTube and see if I can find this. 215 bodies found buried. Okay, let's see. They should never let y'all. They should never let y'all Negroes on TV. I swear.
An unsettling situation in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, to be exact. It's been revealed 215 bodies were buried in unmarked graves behind a state jail in Jackson, of course. Attorney Ben Crump is now calling for an investigation. Families of the dead reportedly had no idea until last month. Some of them, those grave sites were only labeled by a number and a metal rod. Joining us to talk about it, activist Arthur Silky Slim Reed, who also works with Ben Crump.
So, Arthur, this started with Dexter Wade's case back in March, right? He was an individual who was hit by a police officer, and his family thought he was simply missing, but he was dead and buried, and no one notified them.
Well, the thing about it is that he had identification on him, Isaiah, and the medical examiner gave it to the lead detective, who said he called, didn't get an answer, and they didn't worry about doing anything else. What we're finding, Isaiah, is that Mississippi is Mississippi. It's
a Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say, Cap. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm gonna tell you why. Why would you be murdering people and just burying them? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. They said that grave has been behind the Jackson State Jail, I'm assuming, for years. So why is it just now coming up? No one's ever looked behind the jail before? No one's ever said anything? No one's ever asked? You mean to tell me a gravesite been sitting there the whole time and just now it gets discovered? God forbid that black folks was the ones running the earth and they had to discover all the artifacts. They would never get found. God forbid that black folks had to be the ones to be the excavators and find things. It never would get found. You mean to tell me all these years, y'all didn't see a big old grave site behind the jail? Could you imagine if black folks were in charge of finding artifacts? Could you imagine that? Have you ever seen a black person detective that was good? You ever, like, what I'm saying is that it's cap. When I see Benjamin Crump involved, and I see somebody named Silky Slim, and I see dudes wearing, it's cap. It's cap. Nobody's gonna do these murders and leave these bodies. Not the police. When they got body bags, when they got a coroner's office, when they got incinerator, like they have things to dispose of bodies. It doesn't make any sense. Just because somebody black is on TV talking about racism does not mean they're telling the truth. I'm sorry. It does not mean they are telling the truth. 215 bodies found, no explanation. Let's continue.
The ugly Mississippi. And this is sad because now we have 6 other individuals that has been put into this same grave. And if you look at the video from when we first went to that site, buzzards were flying overhead. And we were trying to figure out, why are the buzzards flying overhead? But it's because they're putting them in shallow graves, and the only thing that they're putting them in is a body bag without embalming the bodies. So the stench from the bodies are drawing buzzards there. It's so inhumane for anybody to do anyone like that, Isaiah, is just horrible, is what we can say. And that
How is it inhumane if they dead? No, I'm serious. How is it inhumane if they are already deceased? How is it now? Notice when they showed the camera, it wasn't no buzzards flying. Conveniently, when they got the camera in the sky, we don't see one buzzard. So if it's 215 bodies, there will constantly be buzzards flying over there. There will never, matter of fact, the ground will be covered with buzzards. If there were 215 dead bodies in shallow graves with the stench, there would be dead buzzards all over for miles around on that site, looking for those dead carcasses. The fact they take a camera out there, and not only do we not see a buzzard, we don't see a crow, we don't see a fly, we don't see anything with wings in the vicinity. Not even one animal, nothing. So 215 bodies. Where are the police reports of folks saying, I lost my loved ones? It just doesn't make any sense. If they took a person to the medical examiner's office, he's going to do a report. The report's going to include the young man's name, date of birth, race, and all this information going to be in there. Why would the Post then leave that to go? It doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't have to. Because what's trying to be proven here is, what's trying to be proved here is the narrative. Not what's true, not what's factual. The narrative has to be proven. Let's continue with Silky Slim.
That's not even a word that we should use in a situation like this. It's something that we haven't seen.
And what we're seeing here is over 200 people in this, what they consider a pauper's grave behind the county jail there. And what you guys are learning in your investigation is many of these families were never called, were never notified. Many of them still think their family members or thought their family members were simply missing, but they were dead and buried and never got a call from any investigators, any law enforcement officials or authorities in Jackson, Mississippi.
That's right. And one of the things that we faced being Mississippi is that they thought that we were playing the race card. We have white clients as well. There were white people that were buried the same way, Isaiah. And any human being that's buried the way that they're burying these individuals, it says a lot about the people that's doing this criminal act. And the only thing that we're asking, because people always look at us when we're out fighting for civil rights of individuals, the only thing that we're asking in this case, we want you to do the right thing and give them a humane burial.
Now you notice they're not claiming racism. They're not claiming criminal acts because you're only asking that they get a burial. So you're really asking for funerals. So this lets me know these people were either homeless, didn't have ID. There was some circumstance that just were, or they found them dead. Or they just found them dead. Maybe they didn't want to burn the bodies. I don't know. But we do know that no foul play was brought into this, because if it was, they would have said it. Now you got Benjamin Crump coming in here to do what? I don't know. So let's continue. Thank you. It's a poor person's gravesite. No foul play here. But the way they present the story, it makes you believe it's 215 black people that's been lynched and buried. Let's continue.
And the city is, so it's crazy, Isaiah, to see something like that. It's 2023. It's not 1940. But to see them just dumping bodies in a grave like that, and no name, just a number. So they'll say, well, number 13, that's Arthur Reed. Number 21 is Isaiah Carey. But we don't really know until we get the remains. And then the remains had decomposed so bad, we just have to take them at their word. And when you look at the story, they told us that they would exhume this body at 12 noon, but they ended up taking this young man, Dexter Wade, out of the ground at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. They say, we were not going to allow them to embarrass us with those cameras. If you're not embarrassed by what you're doing, it's shame on you.
Absolutely incredible.
Have y'all ever seen a black man with a big audience and a platform not complaining? Have y'all ever seen a black man just say, you know what, it's my fault? Have y'all ever seen a black man get on a platform, news network, television station, show, and just say, you know what, it's my fault? It ain't the white man's fault. It ain't the black woman's fault. It's my fault. It's on me. It's all on me. Have y'all ever heard that? Why haven't y'all heard that? Why have y'all never heard black men just being accountable for themselves? I did it. It's all on me. It wasn't the system. It wasn't the white man. It was me. Every time a black man got a platform, he complaining. Every time. I used to be a lot harder on black women. Till I took a step back one day and I said, you know what? Because I was listening to the men talking, but then I was watching the actions. And what they were saying wouldn't match up with the actions. And I said, well, if they doing this here, what are they doing with the women? If I can't match the actions and the words in front of me, what are they doing with the women? Worse. It's worse with the women. Anyway, let's continue.
Well, now you guys, along with Ben Crump and I think Attorney Dennis Week, you all are asking for a federal investigation, that the feds come in and take a look at this and see exactly what's going on, because there's some questions as to Dexter Wade's death when he was hit by the police officer. Whatever happened with the officer in this case? And why wasn't his family ever notified that he was dead and not just a missing person? So bottom line, you want an investigation, right?
We think many civil rights were violated in Dexter Wade's case, not notifying the family, burying him without permission when you knew who he was. That's the key issue right there. You knew who this individual was. And if you look at the Dexter Wade case, it's sad, but Dexter Wade's uncle was killed by Jackson police, and they knew the family because they was involved in an ongoing lawsuit with that family, with Attorney Sweets, who you're talking about.
I'm going to tell you what black folks don't understand. Black people have a very difficult time understanding reaping, sowing and reaping. Black people don't understand that they plant seeds of death, destruction, and damnation. And when it's time to reap a harvest, they don't determine how that harvest is reaped. What Pastor Manning says about black people is true for 99% of black people. They don't have any wisdom or understanding. You can't sow seeds of discourse your whole life and expect to reap a harvest how you want to reap it. A lot of these times, this stuff is just chickens coming home to roost. It's chickens coming home to roost. You don't determine how your harvest comes in. You don't. That's why black folks got caught up in the prosperity doctrine, because they told them, if you give God $100, he'll give you back 1,000. Just because you sold $100, you might get something else in return. But again, this comes from no wisdom and no understanding. And so because black people take everything at face value, because their whole existence is based on appearance, there is nothing spiritual about the black experience. Being black is not spiritual. It is the lowest level of existence on the planet, because you've made everything about your appearance. Everything. Most other countries don't have that luxury, because most other countries have that population of person in the country. So if you go to Thailand or Malaysia or Ghana, Nigeria, everybody looks like you. So you don't even have the luxury of just making everything about your skin color. But in America, black folks do. It's just being carnal. It's the lowest level of, it's the lowest vibrational level imaginable, to make everything about your appearance. Everything.
So this is very, very, very troubling for us for you to know this family already, and for you to do something like this. This was adding insult to already injury that you had done to this family, Isaiah.
Recordings.
Okay. That was Silky Slim. I guarantee he an ex. He was in the streets somewhere, somehow. He was in the streets. He's an ex something. Pimp. He did something. He talking too slick. I said he talking too slick. Now, I had a video that, oh man. It was a video of this woman. Is this it? Oh, this is it.
So you mean to tell me when I wear this?
Oh man, some more foolishness. There was a video of a woman, and I wished oh man, I wanted that video. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Why didn't I put that video in this file? Shoot. Maybe it's in this one. Maybe it's in this one. It was a woman talking, and oh, I found it. Won't he do it?
Who absolutely was furious that his top.
You said the Nephilim in Miami. Has anyone confirmed this Nephilim, this fallen angel, this? Because I'm hearing a lot of reports, but I'm not seeing no video. It's funny to me that all these folks got cell phones. All these folks have cell phones, and not one person captured the supposed alien or fallen angel. All these cell phones out here, and nobody captures. Now, y'all capture the police shooting, but you can't capture the aliens. Please help me understand that. All them cell phones out there, and not nobody captured not one footage of this 10-foot being walking among the people. Come on, man. It's cap. It's cap. Right, in a mall. You trying on some shoes and you see this black figure walk by. Come on. He said, my gut tells me it's true. Okay, why is there no phone footage? There's no, all them cell phones, and not one person pulled out and said, let me get this mythical creature walking into Foot Locker. Let me catch this 10-foot fallen angel coming out of H&M. They said he was levitating. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. Oh, the phone started glitching. How convenient. How convenient when the alien shows up, your phone don't work. Oh, come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. The fallen angel walking into H&M, and he think it's there for heaven and manna. Like what? Like these people got cell phones in the mall. What, the weather's good outside. Come on. Come on. No, nobody catch the alien. Right, in Miami. Come on, man. On South Beach. Everybody out. Drones in the air with cameras. Everybody, and and everybody's phones start glitching. Stop. Stop. Speaking of people lying, oh, it was Man in Black. Okay, I get it. So they got everybody come in a big circle and hit that little light. Okay, I got it. I got it. They made him delete the footage. Somebody said, what about the Chief said, what about the mall cameras? Right. Right. Come on, y'all. Somebody said the police presence was heavy, probably because it was a shooting. Probably somebody had a gun in the mall. Somebody had a gun in the mall. And it wasn't no black shadowy figure. It was a Negro. It was a tall Negro with a gun, and that's what happened. They didn't want the bad press, so they said, don't say he black, call him a father, call him an alien. So just like Juicy Smollett. 2 Trump supporters, 2 o'clock in the morning, 20 degrees below zero, looking for Juicy Smollett. Same kind of story. It's somebody tall and dark-skinned walking through the mall with a gun, and that's what happened. And the police got called. They came up there, and it wasn't no alien or nothing. Y'all best believe one thing. Tell y'all this right now. This is gonna sound bad. When there's a bunch of black folks around, ain't no alien finna come around them. In all the alien abduction things and movies, it's always out in the country by some white people in the country. You don't ever see no aliens coming to the hood. You don't see it. Them aliens know better. Them aliens go out in the country where it's peaceful. They can be one family where the neighbors ain't close. The aliens ain't coming to no mall, y'all. You're not coming to a mall. You ain't seen no alien encounters where they go to where a bunch of black folks are. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. But let's continue. Kenya said, E.T. went with the white people. Listen, E.T. was hovering. The ship might have been going down. E.T. was like, oh, this Detroit. E.T. kept going. He went out to the sticks, to the white people. So if an alien shows up, people, and it's black folks saying they saw him, you know it ain't true. Because the alien not going to do it. E.T. got to be with the white people. Now listen, they had him cross-dressing So but ET knew he was safe. They made him part of the family. Black folks would have got ET, had him on display. Black folks would have been charging y'all to come in and see ET in the dog. They had him in a dog cage in the living room. You got to pay money to come see ET. They give ET dog food. They ain't got enough sense to even figure out what he eat. They giving ET dog food. Ain't no alien going to black folks where black folks at. You can forget it. You can forget it. But anyway, yeah, you forget it. So this young lady right here is going to tell this story, and I really want to pick it apart. And this is, I want to start a series called Black People Lie. But let's continue.
I had a professor who absolutely was furious that his top student was a black girl. And he did everything he could to undermine me, including one day he was so frustrated that I still had the top grades in his class that he stood above me over my shoulder and announced to the class that the only reason that I had the top grades is because I must be cheating. And so from then on, he announced to the class, because I was cheating, that he was going to stand over my shoulder on every exam to make sure that I was not cheating. Of course, my grades plummeted from an unsatisfactory A+ to a satisfactory, to him, C-. And then he was satisfied. And it was amazing how that stuck with me. In the middle of the street, it was the most unbelievable experience. Traffic around me, and I couldn't drive. And what blurted out of my mouth, and I didn't even know I was thinking about it, was, "You couldn't have been so bad. You had to at least know which wrong student to cheat from." And I didn't even know that I'd been carrying that with me in such a present way for my entire life.
Okay, so let's pick this story apart.
I had a professor who absolutely was furious that his top student was a black girl. And he did everything he could to undermine me, including one day he was so frustrated that I still had the top grades in his class that he stood above me over my shoulder.
Now, she said, listen to this. She said that he did everything he could to undermine her. He tried all these tactics, and she still got an A+. So that means in all of his underhanded, undermining, and devious intentions towards her, she was still able to get an A+. Remember that, back. Remember that.
Shoulder and announced to the class that the only reason that I had the top grades is because I must be cheating. And so from then on, he announced to the class, because I was cheating, that he was going to stand over my shoulder on every exam to make sure that I was not cheating. Of course, my grades plummeted from an unsatisfactory A+ to a satisfactory, to him, C-. And then he was satisfied.
Now, so think about this, what she said. And this is why I say that black people lie. What she's saying doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense because you believe her, because your mind is telling you, why would this elderly black woman lie? Black people get the benefit of the doubt when they are talking about racism, that they are telling the truth. When black people are complaining about race and racism, it is assumed they are telling the truth. She said that this professor or teacher tried to undermine her through certain tactics, but it didn't work. But when he stands behind her and just watches her, she goes from an A+ to a C minus. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? If nothing he did before worked, all he did this time was just stand behind you, and you went from an A plus to a C minus. And then she says, of course, my grades plummeted because when a white man is standing behind you, you start to lose your brain cells and you can't think properly and your IQ drops. Because white men with authority have so much power that it makes you feel helpless. It's called cap. She's lying. The truth of the matter is, he knew she was cheating, and everybody else did too. And the reason why he knew she was cheating was because her behavior, his observation of her, didn't match the A plus. How she behaved didn't match the A plus. Now, I've been in a classroom, and teachers love when the student's behavior matches the grades. Matter of fact, they'll say that y'all should be like so-and-so. He or she comes into class, does their work, and the grades reflect it. The teacher will make you an example for the class to follow. But in this case, the A plus student isn't the example for the class to follow. Doesn't make any sense. So what we find is that when he was able to look over her shoulder, she couldn't cheat. Because there's no way the professor saying, we're going to watch her take this test, and then you don't rise to the occasion. Because y'all told me that black folks had to be 10 times smarter and work 10 times harder. So why didn't that kick in when it came to these tests? Why did she regress? Why did her melatonin, her melanin, her melatosis, anything else that starts with her Mel Gibson, why didn't any of the males that she had in her operate and activate and have her perform at an A plus level? Why did her chakras line up? Why did she regress simply because he was standing behind her? She didn't say he was touching her. He didn't say he was talking. He just was standing behind her. Let's continue.
And it was amazing how that stuck with me. In the middle of the street, it was the most unbelievable experience. Traffic around me, and I couldn't drive. And what blurted out of my mouth, and I didn't even know I was thinking about it, was, you couldn't have been so bad. You had to at least know which wrong student to cheat from. And
yeah. She told on herself. She said it. You couldn't have been that bad. You had to know which wrong student. Yeah, because you were cheating. There's no way in the world that pops up in your head. Just imagine when we were in school, right? And somebody accused you of cheating. First thing you would have said was, give me the test again. I'll do it right now. We all know how folks act, how children act when they get accused of something they didn't do, especially when it comes to them good and good grades. So there's no way she wouldn't have said, man, I'll prove to you right now. Give me a test. She's sitting there. Teacher's name is Mr. Nix. He's standing behind her now. He Master Nix. Oh, Master Nix. Master Nix, please. It's cap. It's cap. It's cap. She was cheating. She was cheating. Could you imagine getting an A plus and a teacher has the audacity to accuse you of cheating, yeah, stand behind me and watch. Okay, please. Like, what's wrong with you? Tasha, calm down. Okay. Stop hitting me, man. I'm not hitting you, girl. What's wrong with you? It's cap. It's cap. It's cap. She was cheating. But you believe what she's saying because you see this elderly black woman and you would say there's no reason, there's no way she would lie about this. And I say black folks lie every day, all the time, about nothing. Black folks lie every day, all the time, about nothing.
I didn't even know that I'd been carrying that with me in such a present way for my entire life.
So you mean to tell me that this teacher, because he caught you cheating, that it affected your life that deeply? We can all agree that there's no way him standing behind her is going to make her put down the wrong answer. That doesn't make any sense. She's not going to write down the wrong answer because he's standing behind her. That doesn't make any sense. Because she would want to prove that she wasn't cheating. But when he stood behind her, she couldn't cheat. And somebody said it on Instagram. The teacher used to always walk up and down the aisles and look at folks doing that's standard. That's standard. Right, she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed. She was embarrassed. I think we have time for one more video.
It's a while. And I've been on productions where I've been the only black person, the only female, and I needed things and I didn't have anybody I could call. I just had to bite the bullet and I had to show up every day with grace and I had to do my job. It's happened more times than you would ever know. So to be in this position, that's why I tell y'all, this is special. This is special. This doesn't happen.
So, because you were the only female and the only black person, that was grounds for you to not have to do your job? Listen to what she said. Like, you want credit for that?
And I've been on productions where I've been the only black person, the only female, and I needed things and I didn't have anybody I could call. I just had to bite the bullet and I had to show up every day with grace and I had to do my job. It's happened more times than you would ever know.
Listen, okay, let me ask you a question, y'all. You're on a movie set. You got your own trailer. You got runners to get you the kind of food you want. They have crafty there. They got food there. They got catering. They got everything you want on set. What are you not getting? Taraji P, Henson, and the P stand for pathetic. What are you not getting? Your own trailer, your own assistants. You don't have to want for anything. Nobody's bothering you. What are you not getting on set, Taraji P. Henson? This is crazy. You sitting there crying and shaking and shivering. Oh, I love spit. 12 long years on the plantation of Hollywood. Let's continue, man.
So to be in this position, that's why I tell y'all, this is special. This is special. This doesn't happen often. It's the thing about Black women. They don't hear our tears. They don't hear our pain. That goes on in Hollywood. It goes.
Ain't no, you know what? I'm tired of y'all. Ain't nobody bothering Black people. Black folks get more breaks and more excuses than any other race on the planet. This girl just said, if she goes to work and she's the only Black person and the only woman, she's supposed to get brownie points. Black people are the only group of people that have concessions made for them for the dumbest stuff. Can you please bring somebody in color, bring somebody of color here so she can feel more comfortable? Yeah, just please, thank you. Yeah, get one of the extras to come in here and sit with her because she needs some. Yeah, thank you. Pathetic. Yes, go get one of those girls. Yeah, one of the girls. Yeah, get one of the extra. Yeah, a female. Yeah, she wants a black girl in here, and then I need you to get a black. Yeah, just bring 10 of them in here. Just get the chicken, get the fried chicken, get the Kool-Aid. Bring it all in here. She can feel comfortable. It's crazy. Black people are the softest people on the planet. They want all these concessions made for them for the dumbest stuff. You are a Hollywood actress, a principal actress. This is crazy. Ain't nobody bothering no Black folks in Hollywood. You ain't got to sign them contracts. Come on.
Goes on more often than you know. So when you see a Black woman show up on the screen, notice she had to work quadruple hard, or whatever the word is, than her counterparts. Know that she's getting paid just a fraction of what her counterparts are getting paid.
But it's capped though. How do you have to work harder? You got to audition like everybody else. Think about what they're saying. These people go on auditions. That means you audition for a role and somebody has to want you. Taraji P. Henson, you are already typecasted. You're already typecasted. You ain't ventured out your roles. You ain't ventured out of being Jodie's girlfriend, baby mama on Baby Boy. Taraji P. Go on Broadway and act. Go another country and act. Like, expand your horizons. Y'all audition for the same type of roles. You never expand yourself in Hollywood. I know what y'all do. You do what's comfortable. Y'all do what's comfortable. They say, do you want to be this sculptor or the person that makes the biscuits in the Soul Kitchen? She gonna pick the biscuits in the Soul Kitchen. She ain't gonna pick the sculptor. It's cap. You ain't gotta work no quadruple hard. You gotta audition, work on your craft like everybody else, work on your craft. You gotta be marketable. You gotta be believable. I told y'all the girl that played Marvel, Captain Marvel in that movie, I said that first Captain Marvel movie sucked. I said the only way to salvage that film is going to have to be to either scrap it, not salvage it, or bring other actors onto the set. Because that girl's not believable. She's just not believable as a superhero. So this new movie, she in there with a bunch of lesbians, all kind of crazy stuff. They got black girls in there. They got all kind of, it's crazy. It's a woke, inclusive, diversity superhero fest in the new Captain Marvel movie. Foolishness. But even with her, she got to be believable. And so a lot of acting is you being believable. It's in the eyes. Do I believe the character that you are portraying? They gotta believe you, Taraji P. When you was Jodie's baby mama, we believed you. When you was Benjamin Button's mama, not so much. Ooh, they try to make you old, not so much. I'm not saying she can't act. I'm saying when you don't expand your craft, you make it harder for you the older you get. Because you're older, Taraji P. You're not young. You ain't no spring chicken no more. You crying now for Oprah. All that crying is for Oprah. No. Let's continue.
We do it with grace each and every time. We show up and give it our all. Please take that into consideration. Amen, so thank you for everything you fought for us and stood up for us. Y'all know I've been doing this a while. Take that into consideration. So thank you for everything you fought for us and stood up for us.
Man, it's cap. It's cap. It's cap. When you are in an industry that is subjective, you have to work on your craft. Most Black actors and actresses, entertainers, are one-dimensional. They don't expand themselves because they do roles that are comfortable. Most Black people play Black people on camera, on film. You ever see The Rock? The Rock is racially ambiguous. I'm not saying he can act. I'm saying he's racially ambiguous. I can put him in any role. Denzel Washington, although he may look Black on screen, he is racially ambiguous. He does not do roles that tie into his appearance. He picks the role. So again, you actors and actresses that are Black, start playing roles that don't involve you being Black. You might have to be a frog one movie. You might have to be a bat the next. You might have to be a scientist. Expand your roles. Stop playing yourself on screen. Stop being a different Black version on screen. That's y'all problem. Nobody's going to pay to watch y'all star in a film. I'm sorry, they're not going to do it. Black folks are going to watch The Color Purple. Black people. That first Color Purple was watched by everybody, not this one. So if you really want to get accepted in the industry, make your talent supersede your appearance. So that's my advice for the Taraji P complainers. Anybody else talking about how Hollywood is so unfair and unjust. It is a subjective industry. They either want you or they don't. And most of the time, it's about what the public is going to think about you. And dear Black people, most of the roles y'all do, they're not impressive. They're just not. That's why Denzel is still relevant, because y'all can't act. Denzel, 70-something years old. Morgan Freeman still acting because y'all can't act. Morgan Freeman, racially ambiguous character. In that movie, Shawshank Redemption, that character was written for an Irishman. That character was written for an Irishman. Notice in Shawshank Redemption, they didn't mention Red was his name, kept the same name, that Morgan Freeman was Black. You watch the movie, you forget that Morgan Freeman was Black. Because he played a racially ambiguous character. He played an Irishman. You forget he's even Black. So to all the Taraji P's and the other people on the chitlin circuit, expand your talent. Start getting roles that require you to be uncomfortable. Listen, y'all, that's all I have for tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Right, Teelan. He played God. And with the Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty, he played God. Come on, y'all. Thank you, Dave. You get what you negotiate. So again, it's hard to negotiate if you can only do one thing. I don't even fool with Draymond Green on the Warriors, but Draymond Green made himself valuable. I'm not that offensively skilled, but I can play defense. I can pass. I can push the break. I can make good decisions. I can make myself an asset for the team. So if I can't score, I'll be able to do everything else. The same kind of concept mentality. Make yourself an asset to the film industry. They just won't give me a chance because I was black. No. You're one-dimensional. You can only play a slave or a drug addict or a criminal or a prostitute. You can't play nothing else. You can only play what you're comfortable playing. Be in a science fiction movie. Be in a movie about fantasy. Be in a movie where you got to ride a dragon. Expand your horizons. You might be surprised. Right, Mr. Shepard. Cat Williams is himself in every movie. Cat Williams plays himself. But guess what, though? That's his lane. But guess what? He ain't complaining, though. Cat Williams ain't complaining because he knows who he is. I do this. I'm going to do this, what I do here in the movie. He ain't complaining, though. The deal that she negotiated is what she negotiated. I'm gonna tell you this right now. They're not gonna pay you to play some character that anybody can play. I'm sorry, they're not gonna do it. So you can't play the magician. You're not finna get paid a lot to be the person that washed the dishes in the movie. It ain't gonna happen. They're talking about what Brad Pitt got paid and Benjamin Button and what she got paid. I think she got paid $150,000 for Benjamin Button. That's great. You played his mama, and you wasn't even believable. She didn't act. It wasn't no good acting, and Benjamin Button with her. It just wasn't. So again, they're not gonna pay you all that money to play no character that somebody else can play. If you want to get paid the big bucks, you got to play a character that everybody can't play. Matter of fact, you got to be the person that they're writing the script for with you in mind. I'm writing the script with this person in mind. How they used to do it like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't even talk. Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't even talk, but he was a huge action star because what he mastered was, he said, I can't speak, I can't act, but as a physical actor, he was awesome. So he said, I'm gonna speak with my physicality, with my athletics, with my body. I'm gonna speak with my physical body. That's what made Arnold Schwarzenegger a huge star. He spoke with his muscles. Like I told y'all before, what you can't do, then master something else. But black folks still want to make biscuits and still want to fry chitlins. They're not gonna pay you for that. I'm sorry. If you can't be the action hero, you're not finna get paid. If you can't be the person with the drama, you're not finna get paid. The reason why Tyler Perry's movies suck is because it's just black people with a camera in front of them. It ain't no real acting. His best movie was The Family That Prays. And that's because some white folks is in the movie. That movie, The Predator, the first Predator, that was the best one. That was the best one. Thank you, King Tabernacle, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Ms. Ree, always supporting. Thank you, Ms. Ree. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Always supporting. Ventures Goods, Willie. Thank you so much. ETS Extra Transgender. Thank you so much. Khalil, what's up, man? Blanche keep calling Cap. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Listen, y'all. Somebody asked about her contract negotiations, but again, these people sign these contracts because deep down inside, they know what they're worth. You know what you're worth. Like deep down inside, everybody knows what they're worth. They know their capabilities. So these folks sign these contracts because they know this is the going rate for the pimp or the prostitute or the drug addict or the drug dealer or the criminal or the cop or the military. This is the going rate for that. So go watch films in the past and compare them to films nowadays. The acting is told. They was acting back then. Even the folks that they said couldn't act back then act better than the folks now. Lady B, she need to be on Tubi. What she need to be. She needs to be on Tubi. I'll try to go back on TikTok. T. They kicked me off last time. They kicked me off. They wouldn't let me do no lives or nothing. I'll try to get back on there though. I'll try. But listen, you all, love you all, and I thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you all again. I think we'll be on Cutting Through the Culture tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, you know, with Chuck, Keisha, and Chad. So we should be all good tomorrow for the brand new season 2 of the show. But anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.